Hi everyone, welcome back. Okay, this is my second time trying to film this, and I'm hoping I can successfully get to the end of this. This is my last stationery chit chat of the year. I've given you a look at what notebooks I have left and just some general stationery chit chatting. I have this many notebooks left. At the start of this year, this entire shelf was pretty much full, and now I'm down to less than half, and I'm very pleased. And a few of these notebooks are intended for creative writing, so I'm not really counting that as journals to use up for personal, recording. It's for projects, so those I give myself no pressure. There's no pressure at all to use it at any time. If I use them in 2021, I do. If I don't, they carry on to the year after. And once I kind of found that separation in those certain notebooks, that really started to give me that mindset of here's how much I really have left. Versus, look at all these notebooks. So these field notes are for creative writing, as is this field notes workshop companion. These I've had for a long time when I really got into field notes, and then I discovered I really wasn't a fan of their writing, their paper. Not a lot of inks do well with the field notes, so I have a tendency to have to use like gel pens, certain gel pens, some even bleed through, and pencil. And then in this vintage box, this was reduced. I had a bigger box holding all my smaller notebooks, is now down to this. This one, I love Rick Steves first. I want to save this one in particular for traveling, in hopes that one day we can do that again. So that will be for that purpose. But I have several field notes left that I do want to hold on to and use. And I have this one, which comes in various sizes and cover colors. I really enjoy this particular brand. They usually have 3 different types of paper in it. So this one has lined, grid craft, and then blank pages. And then these are actually perforated so I can tear out. I might journal in this one. This is a very handheld, it's like less than pocket size. It's very small, and my hands are small. So that's to give you a size. But I do have that one, and then I have this one, which was originally purchased to take inventory of all of my watercolors and paints. I never got around to that. Maybe one day. I wanted to use that to track, all my colored pencils, all my watercolor pencils, and everything. And, projects, right? There's always projects. So that is all of the notebooks that I will be using for creative writing. And then I have my Birds Junk Journal, which 2020 was something, right? It just didn't feel right to use this one this year because it was just too pretty to waste it on this year. So 2021, here we go. Let's try to do that. Earlier in the year, I bought an older Hobonichi for a pretty cheap price in hopes that I was going to use it to catalog all of my inks. But then I discovered I'm not that type of person that needs to do all these kinds of experiments with my ink. That's just too elaborate for me. I just like knowing what colors I have and how they look on paper. So I've switched to a different system. And as you can see, I have a few pages used, but that's kind of it. It kind of stops after this. But it's still a good, it's good paper to just go to waste. I don't know if I'm gonna actually use this as a journal. We'll see. I tried using an old Hobonichi for a journal and I didn't like it. Mostly because it's got all this writing that kind of goes to waste and takes up space, and you know, I couldn't try journaling over that, but I didn't enjoy it the first time, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but that's in the pile. But after this year's journaling, and you'll see the final count when I finally post my 2020 recap. But after journaling so much this year, I'm just done trying to force myself to use notebooks and stickers and things that I kind of cared about, that I didn't want to go to waste, but wanted to use up. I'm done with that. After this year, you know, I'm just going to use what I want. And if I don't want to use it, if it doesn't fit my profile of what I like using, it's getting donated, or, you know, I can give it to my daughter to use. That was a good thing to come to realize this year. So I'm very happy about that. My Daiso notebook. This one's got 2 different types of paper. I've been holding on to that one. So 2021, that's gonna be the year I use it. This was a Michaels clearance item, and I bought it for the cover to use for scrap therapy journaling, and I can just kind of add my own paper to it. I added the binder rings to it because it was held together by string, and it came with a notebook, which I didn't like using because it's already falling apart, so I'm going to give that notebook to my daughter. The pages kind of just tore out too easily, and I'd gotten 2, so the first one that I did use, that I've completed, the paper just falls out, so I don't want that for my memory keeping. I want something that has longevity. So I'm just keeping the cover, and the notebook is going to my daughter. These are just handmade paper inserts, which I will use up. Another Rick Steves notebook. This is the larger size, and I'm hoping that I can use that for traveling. So that one, I'm also not giving myself pressure to use up. I'm not going to use it for journaling every day. I'm hoping for it to be dedicated to a vacation of sorts. Amazon notebooks, these are like the last 2 existing apparently. It seems to be very hard to find. As soon as I, you know, talked about it to you all, it suddenly became unavailable, and then 2 became available when I ordered it, and then it went back to unavailable. So, and I feel like I had a one-off, because when I opened this paper up to try it with ink, it performed a little bit differently. I don't know if something had changed in manufacturing at some point, and this is the last of the lot, but it's okay. It's not as grand as I made it out to be in that first notebook that I used. So it's kind of disappointing, but you know, that's life. You know, things happen. And then I have this one. This is from ECCC, the Emerald City Comic Con. I bought 2 of them. I'm not crazy about it because it doesn't lie flat. I'm gonna see if I can break the binding enough for it to lay flatter, but kind of makes it hard to, rather annoying to journal in. But I love the cover, and I love the memories tied to where I got it. I'm gonna make an effort to really use this up this next year, and I don't have that many to really use up next year, so it's this is all doable. I'm hoping by the end of 2021, this is all down to just pretty much creative writing notebooks. And then I have larger notebooks here. These are like large flat ones, and no projects in particular for that. You know what? I'm not even gonna force myself to use those as journaling. Those could be saved for projects. So that is what I have. In the beginning of the year, this was almost full. I had it so full of different types of notebooks, sketchbooks that I wanted to use up. And now it's down to, you know, this much. And I am so pleased. I'm so proud of myself. But at the same time, it's a lot of them were pressured. Like I pressured myself to use them, and I'm done doing that. And then I'm gonna swing over here to show you some of the investment things. Investment, like quote unquote. At the end of the year, I like to see where I'm at with what I need to restock for next year. And every year, I always go for a box of glue sticks. I ordered the 24-pack all-purpose Elmer's glue stick, nothing fancy. I get questions about what I use to glue things in, and this is what I pretty much use. One pack will pretty much last me all year. And, well, I guess nothing else can be said about that. I can link it down below. I buy this off Amazon. I bought a pack of pens. Usually what I do is I buy a pack of like a clicky pen, and then I buy the Uniball Visions. Next year I don't plan on using the Uniball Visions. I'm just gonna have this 12-pack of Papermate Inkjoy 0.7 black pens. I really enjoy using these. It's a smooth, never skips. It's a dark, dark black ink. Lovely. I love using this pen. And the 12 should last me for the year, I hope, because I spent all of this year acquiring all sorts of inks. That whole shelf is filled with ink. And my goal is to use my fountain pens a lot more this next year. So I think 12 pens should last me this year. And then another piece that I bought this year is a rotating stapler. This is one of the best finds this year. I like making my own inserts for my traveler's notebook. And I also have discovered I don't like sewing my inserts because you have to kind of push the needle through the paper and it just hurts my hands. I don't like it. So I got a rotating stapler. Normally with a stapler, the standard width of this isn't very wide, and it's not wide enough to reach the middle of the inserts. So what this does is you can change the angle of it and make it stand out like this. So when you hold it like that, you have this entire work surface to put your insert or paper or whatever for stapling. Handiest stapler ever and worth the money because I've already made a few inserts for next year using this. It's lovely. And what I recommend is I did some research, and you need to get chisel point staples. So standard staples have a blunt point at the bottom here. Chisel point means that it's pointed so you don't get that crimping and it doesn't punch through the paper. And this has worked wonderfully. I've done so many pieces of paper at the same time, and this has not crimped on me once. Chisel point staples is the thing to get. So obviously this will last me a long time. So I got that together, and then I got this paper crimper, which I have recently discovered, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. It's kind of like a stapleless stapler. So what it does is, I don't know if you can see that, but it crimps the paper together. And it's not sturdy by any means, but what it does is it kind of creates these little pockets, so I can use that for making pockets of all sorts out of different papers for journaling, for pen paling. You can do whatever I'd like with it. I can get creative. So that's a fun little find. I'm really excited about this. And it just kind of sits on top of my Raskog cart. And then I've been investing in stamps because I've really got into stamping, so I'm really excited to start doing that in my traveler's notebook. This is Christmas themed, so I'm not really doing much stamping, but these have been purchased over the past few months. And I actually have more on the way, but because of postal delays, I don't know when I'm getting them. I hope they get to me safely. But these are all the newer ones that I've gotten, and I keep them in this vintage glass little jewelry box. And they sit on my desk, so I see them, and they're just kind of works of art on their own, and they're pretty to look at, they're inspiring. And the reason why I've been buying more stamps is because I intend for them to kind of be their own stickers. I can put them onto sticker paper, I can stamp them onto different types of things and cut them out and glue them in, which I've done with trace paper. You've heard me talk about that a lot in the past, is stamping on trace paper to take your stamps with you. And that's kind of what I've been into lately. So lots of stamping, and I guess, you know, depends on what your definition of investments are, but these are kind of like my tools that I have put money into for journaling next year. And that's what I have going on. The other thing that I like to stock up on that I haven't done so yet because I still have so much is double-sided tape. I have some left over from Daiso, but then I also bought a 5-pack with varying widths from Amazon, and I just tear this off from the roll, and then I also roll this onto like an old washi, like, you know, the base of the washi tape. I'll roll this into one of those and use it in my deli kit if you've watched that video. But double-sided tape is another thing I love to stock up on because it's very reasonable if you buy it in bulk. It lasts forever, even for me, and I'm using this all the time for sticking down photos. This is what I use for my photos and journals, so it's very handy. And I use these on die cuts too to kind of make their own stickers. So like this as an example, I'll put double-sided tape, and when I'm not ready to use it, I just kind of leave it on, and then when I am, I'll just peel it on and stick it. So die cuts kind of become their own stickers as an on-the-go version. So that's it. That's my little stationery update. I hope you guys are all doing well and hanging on. We've almost made it. We're almost to 2021, and here's to a better new year, healthier new year. And let me know if you've started doing some shopping or if you've taken advantage of some Black Friday sales to get some new supplies for next year, or if you haven't shopped at all. I mean, this is pretty much my shopping. There's not very much stuff, but just things that will make journaling or making a little easier for next year. So wanted to share that and kind of show you the things that I have been buying lately. Okay, take care. Bye.